the rock music. I've been watching too much Action Bronson. But hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Frankie. I'm joined by my boys Andres and Johnny. Johnny's back. Praise Rafa in the back in the studio, holding it down. And this is Futbol on Full. Sorry, I'm already tripping up on words, but welcome back. This is a exciting show because it's the first one that we've had since the return. Soccer is back. Fussbol. German soccer started this last weekend. And I think it was pretty successful. Obviously, people were excited. A lot of people tuned in. I upgraded my cable package so that I can watch the game or matches. I caught a couple of the matches this weekend. And it was good to watch. And I was excited and I was pleased. But at the same time, it was strange, to say the least. It was awkward. You guys see all those empty stadiums, and then you can hear everything. You can hear every kick, every touch of the ball. The managers, it was just eerie. It was weird.
I found it more natural to hear it like that, because that's how you actually hear when you're actually playing the game, just grunts, screams, cross it, kind of that's the game when you play it. So
Coach yelling at you.
Yeah, it's refreshing. It's also the stadium, man. Especially for that Dortmund game, for the Bundesliga, stadiums like that, those fill up for any derby, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was different. Just like, I don't know, like players on the side 6 feet apart and then with masks, and then like they can't touch each other, right? If they to celebrate, or what?
So
there was some controversy with that.
It's not a rule, but they recommended that they shouldn't celebrate. Or when they did, sorry, not that they shouldn't celebrate, but that they shouldn't like hug each other and
that's what I'm saying, like
close quarters.
Homo.
But some of those players and teams like disregarded it. I think it was Hertha Berlin won their match and went up, I think, by 2 or 3 goals at that point, and they were like hugging and everything. So I think the league said they weren't going to punish them, but I think, again, you could see it's hard for players, right? Because they were told, hey, you can't celebrate, or you can't celebrate in a way where you break social distancing, but it's hard. It's an instinct.
Well, especially when technically it's a contact sport.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. You're battling for the ball 1 second, and then the next you can't touch. It's like, well.
Or recommended. But I saw Haaland, he scored the first goal.
Yeah.
Like a badass, and then he's like, nobody touched me, but I scored.
No, I think it was funny too, because what I read was what you said. What you just said on this is like, wait, what? I think Falcao tweeted about it too, right? Radamel Falcao. He was like, I wonder how they're saying we're going in for tackles and defending, and they're advising us to avoid contact, but how it's part of the game, right? Like you just said. But I think like celebration is technically like unnecessary contact, right? Whereas like making a play on the ball or defending is necessary, right? So they're trying to reduce all
unnecessary.
Yeah, all unnecessary. But it was quiet. Again, like you pointed out too, in a place like Dortmund where they pack every match, it was noticeable, right? It was ghost, and the players even at the end of the match still went and celebrated in front of the wall. Right, even though nobody was there in front of the yellow wall. But yeah, no, it was crazy to hear just, every touch of the ball, every kick of the ball. But also, I don't know, it almost kind of went like, for me, because of the lack of atmosphere and action outside of the pitch, it kind of seemed to slow the game down too. I felt like everything was just, or maybe because I was focused so much more in on what was going on in the pitch, right? Because there was nothing else to distract, but it just went slower for me. It was strange. Again, I'll take.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll take soccer in any form right now, but I can't wait for it to be completely normal. Right? Hopefully that's soon.
Yeah, and I think it was a little awkward, but yeah, I'm more grateful to be able to see football. But you could, definitely what I noticed was just players out of shape or out of just out of form mostly. It kind of looked like a scrimmage. I don't know how. It'll be interesting once the competitiveness or the stakes get up, how that changes how friendly the guys are, you know, 'cause this is the first go. But I think once it starts getting more, they get more used to it, which is kind of crazy to say and think about, because we might have to play like this till the end of this year. I don't know, but definitely, I guess it was some semi-interesting how Andres said you could hear like the coaches and a little more of that background noise you don't get to usually hear.
Yeah, no, definitely strange. Definitely really,
Lewandowski stays fit with them TikTok videos.
Yeah,
he
right.
looked like he still looked fit. Yeah,
stays fit. Right, and some of those center backs and bigger players looked a little bit clunky, right? Like you said, out of position. That's a really good point. Some of these guys are lacking match fitness, and understandably so. And you can definitely see it. Well, we'll get a little bit more into the Bundesliga towards the end when we break down the results and the matches. Really quick, I just want to go through some other news to keep everybody kind of updated in case you were wondering when your favorite team is coming back or when your favorite league is coming back. Today, we awoke to news that the Scottish Premier League is canceling the rest of the season. Oh no, not the Scottish Premier League.
Not right? Celtic again.
But what that means is Celtic is a champion. They were 13 points up on Rangers, currently coached by Steven Gerrard, right? And yeah, they are now 9-time defending champions of the Scottish Premier League. That's crazy. 9 times.
That's tying the record for what other team? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but Juve and Bayern have gone 7 plus recently, so I wouldn't be surprised. I remember back when we were younger too, Lyon won 7 French leagues in a row. But 9 is crazy, right? Again, maybe you consider it with an asterisk and sure it was shortened, but 13 points is kind of a big gap in any domestic tournament, if you ask me. So yeah, the Scottish PL joins the Dutch League, the French League, and the Belgian leagues in canceling the rest of their seasons. Meanwhile, some other leagues beside the Bundesliga also returned. I'm talking primarily about the K-League, the Korean League. Did you guys see that one? The team in Korea, FC Seoul in Korea. So because there's no fans because of coronavirus, what they did was, I guess they thought they put mannequins in the seats to make it look like there was, fans, right? Or to like kind of have like a little gimmick. But what was actually in the seats was like those super realistic sex dolls.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So it was crazy. Yeah, no, it's crazy though, because again, they try to make it look like there was people there, and it's a big deal in Korea now. They're like, it's bringing shame to Korea, and it was like a big deal. But I just thought it was funny, right? Because again, it's weird to see
love dolls in the stands or what?
Well, it's weird to see soccer without fans, right? And we've heard about other clubs. I think one was in Germany that had I think it was Gladbach that had like fans pay to have like their shirt put on the seat, right, or to put like a cutout of themselves, right, to kind of make it look like it and still feel like they're a part of the experience, right? But they took it way too far, I guess, with that one, and bringing shame upon themselves and the nation with the sex dolls in South Korea. But just a funny little story there. Also,
it was in that movie, the Seth Rogen movie, how they be faking shit, just making it look like people are at stores and buying stuff and shit.
Oh, yeah.
The interview?
Yeah, the interview.
Yeah, the interview.
Straight to Netflix.
Shady-ass Koreans, I guess.
Elsewhere, this morning we also heard whispers or started reading rumors of potentially Liga MX, the Mexican league, canceling and voiding the rest of their season. Which again, for the sake of health and safety, is an understandable decision to come to. But man, Cruz Azul was in first place. I'm going to be sore about that one. I don't know if they would have gone all the way through and won it. And I also don't believe that, given the structure of the Mexican League, that they should just be crowned, right? But it's still kind of a hard pill to swallow for me.
Well, they canceled the MLS All-Star game as well, and I think anything like
with Liga MX,
yeah,
they canceled. You're right. The All-Star match this year was supposed to be MLS All-Stars versus Liga MX All-Stars. That's been canceled. They have the Campeones Cup, which is this new cup that started last summer between Mexican teams and MLS teams, and that's been canceled. So it wouldn't be surprising if Liga MX does follow suit and actually cancels. But again, I'd be disappointed, obviously for biased reasons, but be on the lookout for that. Don't be surprised if you hear it. Also, MLS hasn't abandoned the season just yet or considered it, but what they're considering doing, and I think we mentioned this briefly last week, was that they want to do a tournament or shortened season style, I guess, compound down at Orlando, using the stadium for Orlando City, and also I guess Disney World's got like a couple soccer fields that they used to use for like Olympic development and big youth tournaments down there. So they're talking about sequestering all these players or keeping them in isolation and teams in different hotels in Orlando and having a tournament. Again, sounds like crazy logistics. All of these teams have season ticket holders, right? And obviously season ticket holders wouldn't be able to travel and go and watch these matches. So I don't know how feasible that is, but I think, like I said last week too, at least they're trying to get creative. At least they're thinking outside the box and trying to make it happen. Because it was supposed to be exciting this season, right? 2 new teams participating. Carlos Vela looking to double up on that record-breaking MVP season. We now had Alan Pulido in the league, off to a scoring start. Chicharito in LA, all kinds of storylines and intrigue in MLS this year. So hopefully they can work it out, or hopefully something happens and the virus subsides and we don't got to worry about it anymore. But yeah, elsewhere in the big leagues, the Premier League started testing players. 6 players out of over 700 that were tested came out positive. Already last week, players like Danny Rose said that they don't want to go back. They don't feel safe. And today I read that Troy Deeney, the captain at Watford, says he won't go back either because minorities and people of color are, more at risk.
He's a criminal.
And because, hey, he served his time. And because he's got a son. He's got a baby boy who has respiratory issues, so he's not really trying to put himself or his son at risk. So the Premier League is the one where we're seeing the most resistance from players, I think. So I would definitely keep an eye on that. Premier League is probably the most watched, most followed league internationally. So if you definitely have a Premier League team that you love or just kind of watch as a neutral, keep an eye on that because the British government gave them the green light to come back starting anytime after June 1st. But who knows? It looks like a crazy situation there. And there's also a whole ton of money on the line. So whole lot of storylines potentially. Meanwhile, CR7 is back in training at Juve as of today. And Serie A is scheduled to return on June 13th. So fans of Serie A, a league that's slowly, gradually improving. We have Lazio just a point behind Juventus. Inter fell off, unfortunately, and it looks like a 2-horse race. So definitely keep an eye on that as well. And circle your calendars or set your reminders for the 13th of June. That's the same weekend that La Liga is scheduled to return as well. But I also read that La Liga is thinking about pushing that back from June 12th to June 20th, or the 20th, and trying to end by the end of July. So it looks like the other big leagues, minus the Premier League, are on track to come back in a couple weeks. Premier League is completely up in the air. So keep an eye on that. Again, these are all kind of like on a case-by-case status, working in conjunction with local governments and local health officials. The French government, for example, shut down soccer and competitive sports for the rest or until September. So there'll be, developments every day, and as the pandemic continues or develops or whatever. So we'll try to keep you posted on that. But Bundesliga will regardless continue this weekend. We've got a couple more intriguing matches. And before we get into our picks at the end, for this weekend's Bundesliga matches, Andres had a stellar weekend of picks. Unfortunately, Johnny couldn't make it last week, so he didn't make any picks. He had a bye week. He had a bye week with the picks. I was 2 for 3, and Andres 3 for 3. Clinched it with his call of, Freiburg and Leipzig drawing. So yeah, Leipzig falter, right? If you saw the highlights, if you watched the match, Andres can attest to it. We were talking about before we went live. Leipzig had a lot of opportunities, looked pretty decent, but couldn't capitalize, and got the goal to equalize after going down. And with the point, they fall back. They're now down to third place, leapfrogged by Dortmund, who was absolutely stellar, given the conditions. Dortmund beat Schalke 4-0. What do you guys take away from that match?
I mean, it was the Ruhr Derby, so I was expecting a little bit more from Schalke, but
yeah,
I don't know. Schalke, I guess, was a little, taken aback from playing closed doors. Maybe they were a little slow coming out of the gates. I don't know, but I mean, you saw a lot of superstar flashes from, Haaland, showing those instincts to score in front of the goal. I mean, looks like they haven't lost a beat. They looked like that before they stopped the season, but I don't know. I just didn't think. I was really watching that PSG game for, barometer of how good they are, but it seems like they'll be able to push at least Bayern to the last match day. We'll see. Will I think they edged them? I don't know. They look good though, so it's a good sign from Dortmund.
What do you think, Johnny?
I honestly didn't give a fuck about these games.
It's
I think
refreshing.
Yeah, I think Bayern. Maybe how you said it took off RB Leipzig, Red Bull from the race. But now my cards are all on Dortmund now because they just look like the shiny new toy. So even though apparently whole team is injured, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't see the RB game. I saw the Bayern the second half, and I saw the Dortmund highlights, but I didn't get to see the RB game. So you said they missed chances.
Yeah.
So now they're 4 points back. How many points are they back now?
They are now.
Didn't Borussia Mönchengladbach pass them or whatever?
Oh, they might be in fourth. You're right, actually, because
RB Leipzig is in fourth.
Yeah. There you go. They fell 2 spots this last weekend, with the draw. That's how close things are right there.
They have 50 points.
They're on 51 and Bayern's on 55, so they are 4 points back, right?
Bayern 58.
Oh, Bayern on 58. Wow. Oh, they were on 55 going into the weekend. That's right. So now they're 7 points back, and Dortmund is 4 points back. Yeah.
So I don't know. If anything, I would have thought these are the games Bayern loses. If anything, they're going to get more momentum. But you never know. I mean, Haaland keeps scoring like a maniac. So
like a maniac. He now has 10 goals for Dortmund since joining in 9 matches since January.
On 13 shots on goal as well.
Yeah, and he's on averaging like a goal every like 65 or 66 minutes. Ridiculous from this young man. This kid is going places, right? We've mentioned it before, but he's definitely one to watch.
So is he considered a generational talent like a Messi, Ronaldo, and Zlatan type player, or
I
just
think him and Mbappe, maybe Jadon Sancho. I don't want to put Sancho up there yet, but Haaland and Mbappe look like they're the real freaking deal. Those are the guys you're gonna see.
in terms of what, scoring or physical specimen, or what do you?
I mean, scoring because they both play up front, but just on the way they play in entertainment, right? Mbappe is just so fast and so skilled, and Haaland honestly can kind of do it all as a forward. The more I'm seeing, we've seen him sprint full field to try to get a pass to score. And then this last weekend, he had like the one-touch link-up that led to one of the goals too. He's there. He had a goal and an assist this weekend. So I honestly wasn't buying the hype when he was at Salzburg. It was the Austrian league, right? And then he started making a wave in the Champions League too, hat tricks in the Champions League. And then you start to think, okay. Then he goes to Dortmund, and you're like, all right, I know a club like Dortmund and their record with youth. They see something here, and then sure enough, 10 goals in 9 matches, right? And again, like Johnny said, they were missing. So Royce is out for the season. It looks like now he's not going to play again for the remainder of this season, restart, whatever. So he's out long term. Zagadou, who's the center back, is out long term. Sancho got hurt in training before this match, so he was on the bench. Couple other players. Axel Witsel didn't play this game. And then they still managed the result. So again, with Dortmund, you always kind of wonder about their defending. They played with a back three now and then wing backs. They play with Guerrero and Hakimi going up and down and playing kind of like Andy Robertson and like Trent.
Guerrero scored twice.
What's up?
Guerrero scored twice.
Yeah, he scored twice. Yeah, he had 2 with the one with the outside of the left. That goal was assisted by Haaland, right? And then
yeah, I didn't see that Dortmund they're scoring a lot. Or I mean, they got Haaland.
Julian Brandt had 2 assists.
And that's the kid that was from Leverkusen, right? And he was supposed to be decent. Brandt?
Yeah. And then he had 2 assists. Hazard looked good, too. I believe he had 1 assist.
So, but if Royce doesn't play, I don't got him winning the league. I mean, but I don't know. Has he even been there? Has he played a full year in the last 5 years?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, right? Yeah, no. So I guess that's just lost hope there, because I remember at one point I used to think Royce was like golden ball like potential, Ballon d'Or, but because he was a beast, and then he never made the World Cup with Germany, and then ever since then he's been just good in sleeves, I guess. I don't know.
He was supposed to go 2018 last year, and then he got hurt again, man. That's how it works. Or 2 years ago now. Man, time flies.
Was his best season the season he was on the FIFA cover? What was that, 2017?
That was right when he got injured or whatever for the World Cup. He didn't play.
I feel like he's key for Dortmund going over that finish line and pushing Bayern. They have a lot of pieces at Dortmund, but
Dortmund are eliminated from champs. So if that's the only way that this could really come to hurt Bayern in the butt, is if they get a tough Champions League matchup and then a tough Bundesliga matchup, and then they crash out of one or both or something like that. But other than that, yeah, they got some breathing room now. Bayern does. Yeah,
4 points up on second place. So it looks like if anybody's going to take it from Bayern, it's Bayern's to lose. And if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Dortmund. Elsewhere, speaking of Bayern, they won comfortably 2-0 against Union Berlin this weekend. Union Berlin actually had a really good chance early in the game to go up early. Mueller had a goal ruled for offside a little bit after that. And then we just kind of saw Bayern in cruise control, right? Not doing anything like spectacular, but also looking functional, right? Looking like their former selves before the break. Lewandowski scored on a penalty. Mueller's looking sharp. Pavard scored off a header in the corner to end the match there. So again, they're in pole position. It's there to lose. And I think again, we kind of argue about them sometimes. Not argue, but we debate Bayern a lot because Andres picks them to win the Champions League, right? Where Johnny and I feel that the defense is untested against, big time opponents. Now, to their credit, players like David Alaba are playing center back, right? Which is not his natural position. Alphonso Davies at 19 years old is learning a new position and thriving at left back. So again, not to take anything away from how well they've played, but that's not what they naturally do best. And haven't really been tested against super tough opponents. So would you agree with that, Johnny, with that assessment?
Yeah, I feel like I saw the game, the second half, and I just didn't think Berlin was a good measure for me to judge them against.
Fair.
And then I just thought a lot of their players were out of form, kind of. I don't know. Kimmich looked a little off, so did Thiago. Lewandowski and Mueller looked like a motherfucker, though. They were both on it. Lewandowski's old ass was outrunning everybody down the right-hand side. So, but sometimes I think their mid is a little left exposed, too. Leaves the back exposed with Goretzka, Thiago, and Kimmich. And it just looks like, people are out of place. I guess they're suffering injuries, but at left back, Davies was a left back, and at right back, Pavard was a right back. And then it was Boateng and Alaba. But I think it's just a one-off game. I'll wait another game or two to really see how good they are. But I saw them tear up Chelsea, but I'm not convinced. I think they're right there for me. They're right there with PSG, Barca, and Juve. Right under, I don't know. I still think City's the best team left, at least in champs. And then it's kind of a toss-up. But if Lewandowski stays, Bayern's going to go. They're going to be a tough out. So that's pretty much how I got. But they're mid, what you said. It depends on how they get tested and who they play at mid. Sounds like Barca should buy some of these right backs, though, or left backs, because they don't got none.
Yeah, they definitely don't.
And Bayern's over here using them as center backs and center defensive mids and shit.
Speaking of Bayern and mids, one mid that they're linked to, Kai Havertz played on Monday for Leverkusen, and Leverkusen blew out the other team. It was 4-1.
Werder Bremen.
Yeah, Werder Bremen. And Kai had 2 goals, both headers.
One of them, granted, Werder Bremen didn't play good defending. It was really poor. They kind of just left him there open.
At the far post.
But Kai Havertz, if you want to talk about, someone hot on the transfer market, definitely, making his name known around, Europe.
I feel like he's getting overhyped. Because what I was trying to bring up earlier is what's the difference between him and Brandt? Maybe position. I think it's all just kids these days all get hyped up, man.
Kai Havertz is
Goretzka's it will be the same thing. He was hyped up, then they copped him.
Mm.
And Bayern always finds a way to get some random ass deals for the Lowskis on German products or Polish products from Germany, you know?
I think Havertz, with those 2 goals, became the fastest player to 30 goals in the Bundesliga at 20. So, I mean, he's like he's a good scoring center attacking mid if that's what he plays. Center forward, I don't know. I don't know his exact role on the team, but he's definitely producing goals. But if he's a fit for teams like Bayern, maybe not. But I know a lot of other teams that could use a, you know, forward like that can score 30 goals in a couple first seasons of the year at 20.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely we're reading he's being linked with Barca, with Liverpool, with big clubs, and yeah, I think one of the descriptions I was reading, and you almost don't read too much into these because how many times have we read about the next Zidane, right, or the next Ronaldo, right, or the next Messi? But they were saying that he was similar to Ozil, except that he's got more goals in him than Ozil did, right? Which I thought was an interesting
Get the
comparison.
fuck out of here. Yeah. Is he
I believe
lefty
Havertz has.
too?
Havertz
Motherfucker must be lefty.
is Leverkusen's leading goal scorer this season, and I think he leads them in assists as well.
But is
So
he a lefty though?
I'm
And
not
does he
sure.
have the touch of an angel?
I'm not sure.
And the abs of a Greek god?
To be compared to Ozil.
Yeah, don't ever say that again.
Hey, that's what I read. I'm not necessarily agreeing with it. But yeah, he's one to watch. One to watch on the transfer market, right? And what we're reading too, since we're on the topic of the transfer market, a lot of swaps, a lot of NBA, NFL type deals that we're hearing for soccer this season. Another thing that we kind of debate and argue about sometimes is some of these transfers and the prices and whether they're justified. Andres this morning tried to tell me that 88 million for Lucas Hernandez was decent for Bayern. Obscene.
Well, we were talking about Bayern. We were talking about Brian popping up, a $90 million young player. And given that they paid 88 for Lucas, I'm not sure they would break the bank again. I mean, they could, given that, viewership for these matches reach like 500% what it used to be. But, I mean, I don't know if they're going to have enough money to, cash in on a player like that.
No, well, some teams, I would say the big clubs might have a big deal, but probably with like a player included, right? Or with somebody in cash included, right? The big one that keeps persisting is Barca and Juve, swapping certain players for other players, right? The common denominator, or the one that we keep reading, is Pjanic, right? Pjanic, Juve offering Pjanic to Barca for Arthur, right? Is a preferred target, but Barca offering Semedo in exchange for Pjanic and maybe another player and some cash, which seems super lopsided, right? And doesn't really, which I think, yield much for Juve there. But yeah, we keep hearing. Before that, I was hearing or reading that it was Rakitic for Pjanic, right? So I mean, clearly, if anything, like you said, this is all speculation and rumors. But clearly, these two teams are trying to make some moves, right? If this keeps coming up, or some of these players are clearly trying to, or maybe not the players, right? But they're trying to make some movement is trying to be made.
So, what would you think is a preferred option for all the leagues to have kind of like a hard cap, salary cap on some of these wages, or like NBA style, player swaps and things like that?
Well, the president of La Liga, Javier Tebas, has already said that I think La Liga has kind of like a cap, and he said they're not making any adjustments so that teams can buy this summer. So I believe maybe they were referencing like Barcelona's purchase of Martinez, right? Because it'd be, if they just bought him outright, his release clause is over 100 mil, right? He shot that down. He's like, no way, it's not happening this summer, right? Just because, well, one, Barcelona's in a pretty unique financial position, right? They probably won't have the money unless they sell.
Do they have money or are they broke? That's the real question. Is Barca broke right now?
It doesn't seem like they can
They're taking
Well,
30% reduction on wages for their players at least, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, and all of these teams are hurting from, the revenue. I mean, Camp Nou is a freaking 90,000 seater, man. Imagine
I think the Bernabeu takes in 120K a game that they're losing.
that's insane. In 120,000 euros, that's probably more than that.
20,000?
You said 20,000?
Yeah.
120,000? Well, regardless, everybody's going to feel the pinch this summer, and that's why you're hearing a lot about these. You're going to see a lot of those free agents, right? Players whose contracts are up and they're going to get signed elsewhere, and a lot of these swaps and a lot of loans. I think the closest one that's come to concrete already, and this has been coming for some time, right, is Sané to Bayern, right? That looks like it's going to happen. They just have to figure out the fee, I think. And since we're on the topic of Man City, we now know, sorry, kind of going on a different tangent, that Man City's appeal to the Court of Arbitration in Sport for their 2-year ban in the Champions League is June 8th through the 10th. So Man City will have their day in court in early June. So for those of you Man City fans who randomly appeared out of nowhere circa 2013.
Circa 2010, 12 at least. Come on, bro. When Aguero and them won the first title over QPR.
They can have major implications, right? Big players might leave if they're not going to play in the Champions League. We've already heard De Bruyne. Well, no, he hasn't said it, but players like De Bruyne probably won't want to hang around. We're hearing questions about Guardiola's future if it goes through. So definitely another situation to be aware of and to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think Sané goes to Bayern, but they're probably waiting to see what the final decision is before he completely abandons that project. But they're already trying to get him with the number 10 shirt on Bayern. So,
Coutinho's wearing it right now, right?
Sané also has a picture of himself on his back scoring the goal. I think his first Champions League goal. So I don't know what type of motherfucker he is, but look that shit up. That's real. He has a big ass back piece, full back piece of himself.
Well, no, he does.
Who
and
does
since you bring it up, Guardiola, he's maybe I'm reading too much into it, right? But Guardiola probably doesn't think he's super reliable, right? Sané's been frustrated by being in and out of the squad. And the other thing too is Sané was left out of Germany's World Cup squad in 2018. There must have been a reason why. A lot of people at that time criticized the decision because he was young and he was fast and there was other things that he can bring to the team, right? To an aging Germany team, but must have been for other reasons. So you're right. Who knows what's going on with Sané, right? That's more than one occasion or one, team or coach who's had, issues there with him. So
would he jump the pecking order over Perisic and Kingsley Coman at Bayern?
Well, Perisic is on loan from Inter, so him staying isn't necessarily guaranteed, right? And man, Coman is one of those players who I watched at Juve, and the talent is there, and he's good. But again, man, what's with these feeble young French players? Coman and Dembele can't stay healthy, man. These guys are so talented, so fast, and they just can't stay healthy. They're fragile. I don't understand. So, yeah, maybe they move on from that, right? Because they have Gnabry, who's actually a really good player. And they're kind of set with him on the wing right there on one side, right? But they're going to need – can you imagine a front three of Sané, Lewandowski, and Gnabry? That's scary right there. It's like tap-in goals for Lewandowski all day.
And Davies on the left, maybe overlapping around.
Yeah, if they figure out the center backs, if they just re-up, well, Sula will be back, right? And he's supposed to be like the great next German center back, right? But dude's like the Incredible Hulk, man. He's not very fast. He's not mobile, right? And Boateng is at the end of his career. Maybe Alaba stays there, but again, I would say that maybe even Pavard can play center back, right? Or you said Lucas Hernandez could play that, right? I thought he was a left back too. So
he is also a left back.
Isn't his brother a left back too? Isn't Theo Hernandez a left back too? That's crazy.
Yeah, and he's also the highest scoring player on AC Milan right now, I think.
This season, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, and one's French and one's like Spanish, so they got other problems over
there. Thanks. Big shout out to quick to Steve Q for the interaction. But he's saying that Sané will stay at Man City for the cash, right?
Yeah.
I could see that, right? He's young and maybe he really wants to play and make a difference and make an impact. Not like Gareth Bale, right? Gareth Bale is ready to chill and make a paycheck regardless of where he's at, which is why he's now talking up MLS too. Gareth Bale is out in the press talking about how MLS is gaining prestige and intrigue around the world and how he'd love to play here, right? So
he also got rejected from the MLS. I think some club didn't even want to buy him.
Well, yeah, no. Don't forget, Madrid almost let him go for free last summer to China, which would have been insane before they realized how crazy it would have been to let a player that they paid $100 million for and go for nothing, right? So, again, this is really interesting just because of all the questions, right? There's so much going on. Thanks again to the homie Steve Q here because something that has kind of gone under the radar and that we haven't talked about in the last couple of weeks. Newcastle United, guys. I don't think the buyout is complete yet, but it looks like they're going to be under new, really rich ownership. So I've read rumors of Newcastle bringing in Pochettino as their coach, trying to bring like Coutinho to Newcastle, and like Steve is referring Bale, possibly. Right? Can you imagine if we've seen it, right? In recent times, the Man Cities of the world, the PSGs, the Monacos, the RB Leipzigs, right? All these new money teams that all of a sudden go super competitive, right? Because of what they're able to spend. So I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle kind of made a surprise. And Newcastle is one of those historic teams in England. They have a huge following in the northeast of England there, and they have some historic players that have played there. Alan Shearer played at Newcastle, and he's the all-time leading goal scorer in the Premier League. So, I wouldn't be surprised.
You need a marquee signing for your Newcastle. Coutinho probably isn't wanted at Barca. He's an option going with Pochettino, but...
Can you imagine, though, Newcastle out of the nowhere? Pochettino. I always thought Pochettino was going to go to Man United, right? But it looks like they might be willing to stick with Solskjaer there for a while. And who knows now, too, right? United has been linked to Jadon Sancho, which is probably a really big, it's definitely going to be a really big fee. Dortmund's not going to let him go for anything under 100. And Johnny, you don't think it's worth going to Man United, right? Nobody wants to go to United right now?
I definitely wouldn't. I don't see what Sancho's really... A number 7 shirt to wear at Man U, that's the most appealing thing to go there for. Fuck that. They're under Man U's complete rebuild right now. They're not going to be good for 2 more years minimum. Same with Chelsea.
Well, Andres and I kind of agree in that they have some good young components, right? And what if Pogba stays? What if he wants to play against or alongside Bruno Fernandes now, right? Pogba's another big money signing that wants to leave, but again, given the current situation and economy, who knows if that's realistically possible, right? Is Madrid going to be able to cop him? Doubt it.
I think United make a leap next year. I think they're kind of like on the Liverpool plan. Give him 4 years, see what happens. This would be Scotia's second year. Maybe give him 2 years, but definitely you'll see if Pogba stays, you'll see the difference next year. And who knows, maybe by
Uh,
depending on who they get this summer, they could definitely make a run for the top four and push whoever's up there. They had momentum. They were the most informed team before the pandemic started. So
I
I'd
don't
argue.
see that really meshing as anything. I don't see a midfield of McTominay, Fred, Fernandez, and Pogba being very like anything. Unless they're gonna start the Fernandez on the wings. Pogba and Fernandez kind of play the same position. So with it,
No, sorry, I was reading.
Man, you got they got a lot of young players. It's the same as Chelsea, how like you were saying, Frankie.
Well, yeah. I mean, actually, what you just mentioned, I think that could be a really good midfield. McTominay, Pogba, and Fernandez. Pogba has always played at his best in that left mid in a midfield three. I think Fernandez is versatile to maybe play on the right mid, and then McTominay at the base. I don't think that's a bad midfield at all, honestly. Maybe Fred. I'm still not 100% sold on Fred yet. But Fred
will always be better at like he's like a luxury player at Juve. He had a lot of players to carry that load and defensively, and that's why he doesn't shine with Man U because he has to do too much. Same thing with France. He's good because he's got Matuidi and Kante behind him. At Juve, he had Vidal, Pirlo, stacked midfield. Marquinhos, stop it.
No, I would agree.
None of those new players are comparable to that mid, and that's what Pogba is. He's just a luxury player to me. He might make a difference, but he's not. At least that's me.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I think McTominay can provide some stability there. From the academy, man. Come on. The lad had some significant goals before he got injured. And then Fernandez came and started turning things around, right? Rashford, is going to be a good player. Your boy Andres, right?
Let me ask you this.
Greenwood.
Who's the leader in that Man U team?
I would say Bruno Fernandes is the leader at this point. Either that or Harry Maguire.
He started laughing.
Or Harry Maguire.
Maguire? Harry Maguire for the money?
Yeah, I mean, he's wearing the Captain's armband for a reason. I don't know. I don't know who else takes that leap as
they have
a leader.
Other youngsters, right? Not that the other youngsters would step up into a leadership role, but Marcus Greenwood, right? Your boy. Andres, right? He's shown flashes and a crazy left foot. They have the Andres Pereira there, right? I'm not sure if he's going to stick around.
Well, you're naming the other problem they have, and that's that they have way too many forwards. They have Daniel James, Rashford, Marshall, Pereira, the Chinese league guy, Greenwood. That's 6 right there.
Not necessarily a bad thing, though. Look at City.
James.
Dan James.
His name is 7, though.
Dan James, the speedy youngster. I think there's a lot of promise there. I just think they just have to sort out the back, and actually attack, right? Not just counter. I mean, right now they're kind of sort of built to counter, with the speed that they have. But I think they have the pieces.
That's all they do.
I think they have the pieces to play old school Fergie ball, man. Not to say they'll replicate those results, but they can. They've got those pieces, I think. I think they've got some youngsters there. Rashford could be a leader, the number 10 on the back, right?
This guy said Rashford leader, DQ. And well, that's my point. I mean, last 20-year-old leader captain that I can remember was my boy Fernando Torres.
El Nino.
Right? We'll see. I don't know. I think that's a lot of questions, though. That's why I don't see Man U as a stable place for players to go right now, or for Sancho to be like, damn, I need to be there, you know? But that's just me. but yeah, that's just,
as opposed to Chelsea, right, where we now have heard of Callum Hudson-Odoi being arrested for possibly
oh shit,
assault or
yeah,
something.
rape.
Is that what it was?
Rape.
I thought it was just
Yeah.
assault. I thought it was
No,
basic
it's
assault.
for rape, bro.
Oh, that's crazy. That's even crazier than I thought.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I was just about to give
Girl.
him props.
Yeah. In the door, no, for
At
rape
Chelsea
charges.
there, but I don't know how you really follow that up with props, right?
Yeah.
But Lampard in his first year at Chelsea was having a pretty decent year. I would say they might have peaked. They had a stretch of, draws and a couple losses. And then obviously the Champions League loss to Bayern, right? But I would argue that Chelsea and United are in similar situations. They've got a lot of promising pieces there. I like a lot of what Chelsea's doing. I like Mason Mount. And N'Golo Kante is still there. They got
I like Chelsea's project better too. How you're saying, and it's comparable, but I think they got a little bit better pieces at Chelsea, and they got Lampard.
That's the one advantage I think they have over United. I think Lampard has got a better idea of this managing thing than Solskjaer, honestly, and that's kind of crazy because Solskjaer has technically been managing longer. And I mean, they're both players too, but Lampard looks like he's got a better grasp, right? Also, another crazy thing to consider with Chelsea is they might sell Kepa, or Kepa might be gone. I keep reading them being
the most expensive goalkeeper ever
of all time. Yeah. I keep reading him being linked with the keeper from Ajax, Onana. Well, yeah, no, Steve. I mean, I've read that Pogba. It's crazy because I've read, I think, interviews with Fred and other players, and they think highly of Pogba. They say Pogba's another guy in the locker room. So, Pogba is also represented by Mino Raiola, the infamous super agent. And I don't know how much of what's going on there with Pogba is just the agent doing his thing, right, and trying to angle for the best situation for his player as well as the biggest fee for himself. But again, Pogba's one of those players I don't think I see any. I mean, who the hell am I, right? But I don't see any $100 million transfers this summer. And that's what
I could definitely see Madrid buying him for $100 million.
Pogba?
Yeah.
Over an Mbappe or something?
Well, but you got to think Madrid's going to... I don't think Mbappe will go right now either. Not with Hazard there. And not with some of those other kids there. But I can definitely see Madrid spending $100 million on Pogba.
I think realistically, Madrid's gonna just recall most of their loans, see how pieces fit, see what Zidane wants to play with, see how Hazard comes back for these last few games, and then just roll the dice on whoever is cheap or available.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna buy a star center forward anytime soon. I think they'll give another chance to Jovic and Benzema, but I mean, you could say that they need goals right now, so. I'm not sure Pogba will give them goals.
And hell, they might be able to generate money from selling, James or selling Isco, right?
I heard James was 80% chance to Atletico, which I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I don't think that's the move really for him right now in his career. Atletico is like, if you go to Atletico, you're going to a hard-working, running, kind of a little more sacrifice type of team instead of like James probably wants a little more free roaming space, creativity, and attacking. I don't know. I don't think that would be the move, but I was hearing Everton, and then I was hearing or MLS or even Juve. I heard
for James.
Yeah.
Interesting, but yeah, no, I agree. I don't see him as a Simeone player. Or for that system, right? But then again, I would have said that Felix doesn't fit that system, and there he is, right?
Yo,
There he is trying to pick fights with Messi, man. What the hell is that? He's, he's
But,
not on Messi's level to be touching his face like that. No, I'm just kidding.
but yeah, as more transfer speculation or solidity comes, we'll try to keep you guys updated. But now it's time to wind it down and close down the show with our picks for this next week. Now, we do this on Tuesdays, or we have been doing this on Tuesdays during the lockdown here. So we'll probably be back next Tuesday. By that time, we'll have a couple of key matches. Now, this weekend, for those of you guys who are looking forward to it or want something to watch, want some football to watch this weekend, Bundesliga is on FS1, FS2, and they're also on Unimas if you are on Spanish-speaking or basic television. This weekend, we're going to start with 3 matches, including 3 of the big teams, first, second, and third place. And then on Tuesday, the 26th, we have Der Klassiker, Dortmund versus Bayern. Andres and I were talking about it earlier. It's probably is the clincher, right, or the decider. And that's on Tuesday the 26th in the afternoon. I believe it's at 2 p.m., right, Andres? 1:45 on Tuesday the 26th?
Central Time, yeah.
Yeah, 1:45, 2 p.m. Next Tuesday. That's the big one. But still some intriguing stuff to watch this weekend. So how about we start with Gladbach, currently in third place, against Bayer Leverkusen, where Kai Havertz is. Leverkusen is in 5th, but again, they're pretty close. We'll start with you, Andres. You got Gladbach or Leverkusen? Or a tie. Forget about the third option.
I mean, this is a tough one. They're both kind of neck to neck, 1 point difference. I'm not sure you can even go off like who's at home, who's away. Quality wise, I don't really see that much from Leverkusen, so I'm gonna go Gladbach stay in that third place. So they have a win over Leverkusen.
All right, Johnny.
take Leverkusen.
All right, and I'm gonna go tie for this one. I like what I saw from Leverkusen with Havertz pulling the strings. They've got Leon Bailey, the speedster up top. They've got a couple other young players there too. He's probably the best one, and like I said, the ringleader of that. But both of those teams, I think, are in good form right now, and I think that'll be a really good match to watch too. So I'm gonna go with the draw. Elsewhere, we've got Dortmund against Wolfsburg. Who you got on this?
I think Dortmund continue their hot streak of scoring goals. Don't really see Wolfsburg providing too much of a challenge there. I'm gonna take Dortmund to take a win.
All right, Johnny.
Yeah, me too.
BVB. I think we're all going to go Dortmund on that one. I agree with you guys. Again, I would say that all the injuries that we listed before, a bunch of guys are day-to-day, right? I would say that's a disadvantage, but clearly they may not need them in certain matches, as was the case this past weekend. So,
yeah, it seemed like whoever steps up on that team is going to be able to score. Guerrero could score, Thorgan Hazard can score, Sancho can score, Haaland, you know.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see the midfield there. The two center mids were Delaney and Mahmoud Daoud, but they made it work. Steady platform. All right, elsewhere on, I think it's Saturday. Yeah, this is still on Saturday. Bayern versus Frankfurt. Frankfurt had a really good season last year. Made it deep into the Europa League. Not so much this year, but still a decent team. Who you guys got, Andres? We'll start with you.
I'm going to take Bayern, I'm sorry. Bayern, Lewandowski. I mean, one more. How can you fight that? The man has, 40 goals in 5 seasons, only bettered by, Messi maybe in the last 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He's up there with Messi and Ronaldo. He's going to continue scoring, man.
Johnny?
Who are they playing?
Frankfurt.
Oh my god. Take a hot ass tie.
Oof.
I don't like Bayern.
All right.
Mind you, this game is right before their Klassiker. Or what is it?
Yep.
Their Klassiker?
Yep.
Classic.
So you're saying
Frankfurt in 13th place. Yeah, I'll take Bayern. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
All right. Another clean sweep there. Bayern all across the board. Again, Frankfurt, I like some of their pieces, but this season seemed to be a little bit tougher for them. And I actually, again, this is not relevant to anything competitive, but I think they have some of the dopest jerseys in the Bundesliga, at least. The red, black, and white stripes. No, Frankfurt. The red, black, and white stripes looks ill. And then finally, the big one, possibly the title decider in the Bundesliga on Tuesday, the 26th. We got Der Klassiker, Bayern versus Dortmund. Who do you guys got?
Probably a tie.
Johnny's got the tie. That's a fair result.
their first fixture was a tie. I think they're gonna go a tie again. They seem pretty. I think they can match them on intensity. Maybe surprise them with a few goals. Bayern can respond, but I mean Bayern really, if they tie or win, they have the league wrapped up. So tie will even
there might be
hard-fought tie. They'll take the tie, I'm sure. So I would hope
might
win.
tie the league. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a game that came too quick and then with no form.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, that one's really a toss-up. I think it's a 50-50 game, really.
All right.
I'll go Dortmund then, just for picking someone. I think it's a 50-50 game. I don't know that they'll tie. So yeah, maybe, but they can. Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with Johnny. Because
Dortmund. Do you think Dortmund?
I think Dortmund can take it because, one, I want to stay consistent. My critique or my doubt in Bayern is their defense. I think the Dortmund attack can really test them. The speed of Sancho and Hazard and Haaland, I think they can be devastating. Will
Sancho be back?
As we can see. I think they would, yeah, I think so. If I'm not mistaken, he was subbed in at the end of this last one. I could be wrong about that though. But I think he should. I don't see why they wouldn't use him for this big game, at least if he's healthy. And again, so one, I think the defense can be tested by Dortmund. And
but you can say that likewise with Bayern. They can also test Dortmund's defense.
I don't doubt that at all, actually. I think you're spot on. Dortmund, again, my biggest critique of Dortmund, too, is they have basic errors in defending way too frequently. But the other thing, too, is one thing I've talked about with you guys is I love the model that Dortmund has where they bring in young players and bring them into a competitive team in a competitive league and really get them ready, right, for bigger and better things. But the thing about that is, as far as championships and staying competitive, it's not sustainable for that, right? Well, maybe it is if you keep bringing in the best youngsters, right? But my feeling is they got to win now. With the players they have now, this might be their best chance in a while, because we know that Sancho is probably going to leave this summer, if not soon, right? Haaland is going to be gone by the time he's of age, right? He's 19. I'd say by the time he's 22, he's at a big club, right? A bunch of other young players that they have could potentially, Brandt could be gone, right? Hazard isn't as young anymore, but maybe he makes a leap to another club. So too many question marks about the future of these young players. So they got to go for it now. And this is going to be their best opportunity this weekend. So because of that long spiel, I'm going Dortmund. With Johnny.
I think one key matchup in that game is going to be who defends Erling Haaland. Maybe Alaba might not be the best choice to put on Haaland, They might need a big burly defender there. Haaland did say his toughest defender was a Virgil van Dijk, which, I mean, that could mean maybe someone who can match his size, can give him problems in the box, finding space. But if they can exploit that, maybe they can have an off chance. But
Yeah, they were a little lackluster versus PSG, and that's when they had to go
all out as
guns
well. Right?
blazing.
Mm-hmm. Fair. That's fair. But either way, intriguing weekend again in the Bundesliga. Now, the reason we bring the Tuesday match into this is because that match will be right before our next episode, hopefully. So if you guys are into football on Full Heel, if you guys like the show, check us out again next Tuesday. I want to say 9 p.m. That's usually around the time we go on or try to go on. So next Tuesday at 9 p.m. we'll be talking Der Klassiker and any other developments in the Bundesliga and elsewhere. So with that, I want to thank the boys here, the crew, Andres and Johnny, for joining me as always. Rafa for putting it all together. And yeah, again, thank you guys to Ryan, to Steve Q, for interacting and giving us your thoughts throughout the show. Please continue to do so.
Yeah.
Please
appreciate it.
Like it, share it with your friends if you guys like the show. Let us know in the comments what you guys would like us to talk about or what you guys think we're not accurately talking about, right? Where we're acting up. Let us know. And thanks again. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Stay healthy, stay safe, and watch some football. We're out.
So
Peace out.